Happy Wednesday, church. I hope you are doing well. I hope your families are doing well. When I was 5, my parents decided to go out and buy a new house. And so we went and looked, we went on the lots, and we found the perfect house for our little family, my sister and I and my parents, and they bought it. They brought it to our little piece of Texas right out near Canyon, and we plopped it right in the middle of our lot. It was beautiful. It was brown. It was amazing. We loved it. And Shelby and I both got our own rooms. It was great. And so to mark this occasion, my parents decided it was best to go buy ourselves an oak tree, a little sapling that we could plant out in the front, that not only could mark the testament of my parents buying this house, but could also mark the growth of my sister and I. We could grow together with this tree, and we could see how we kind of aged against it, and it was just a good testament. Also, I think my dad wanted a shade tree for the porch. But we loaded up in our little Ford Contour named Dimples, respectively, since it'd been through the 99 hailstorm. It looked like a rolling golf ball. But we loaded up in our little Ford Contour. We drove all the way into town to Lowe's. And we stood there in the parking lot. We picked our little oak tree, our little sapling, and we took it to the register. We checked out, and we loaded it in the back of our car. We sent it straight through the trunk, up through the little hole in the middle of the back seat, all the way up to the center console, right behind the little 5-speed. Shelby and I sat with a tree between us, and the branches hung out of the trunk in the very back of the car. We probably looked a lot like the Beverly Hillbillies driving down the road with our tree, going to plant it in our yard. But this was a big moment for us. We got home, and we were so excited, we immediately dug the hole and we planted it. We threw it right there in the ground, right in front of our house, right for everyone else in our neighborhood to see our little tree. And over the next few years, my sister and I learned a big lesson from our parents. We learned that tree care is important, especially from a sapling. We learned that in order for this tree to grow strong, we'd have to water it a lot. We learned that we had to give it a lot of nutrition. We learned that we had to keep an eye on it in the West Texas winds, because in Amarillo, it doesn't stop blowing. It's awesome. And so we had to make sure it was still there sometimes after those winds. But most of all, we had to make sure that we pruned off anything that was dead. That we took all the dead branches off, but we also pruned off some of the live branches to make the tree grow taller, to make the tree grow fuller, to make the tree grow stronger. And so we did this year after year, watching this tree grow taller, watching this tree grow fuller. And in John 15, verse 2, it says very much the same thing. Right here, starting in verse 2, it says, "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you, unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." What I believe that the text is saying here is that in order for us to bear fruit, bear the fruit of God, we must allow God to be our source for that fruit. In other words, you don't know how to live for God until you live from God. I'm going to say that again. You don't know how to live for God until you live from God. And truly, when God is our source, we will find there will be natural pruning involved in that. That there will be natural things that God is going to trim away in our lives to make us bear even more fruit, to make us even fuller, to make us even bigger, to make us stronger. And yeah, in the moment, that pruning is going to hurt. In the moment, that pruning is going to be annoying. Sometimes in the moment, we won't even notice the pruning is happening. But it is important. It is important for us to grow fuller. It is important for us to grow taller, for us to grow stronger, and ultimately, for us to bear the name of Christ in the way that Christ wants it to be borne. That little tree that we planted in my parents' front yard is a lot taller now. It's actually taller than my parents' house now. It's beautiful. It's an awesome oak tree. And even more perfect, it perfectly shades their front porch, their big deck, where my dad has this bench that he and my mom sit out on every single night, almost like he might have planned that. But it gives perfect shade for them on their evening time, sitting on that front porch as a couple. And it was important in those firming years that they prune that tree, that they tend to that tree. It's the same for us with Christ. It's important for us to allow him to prune things away, to take the note when something might need to leave our lives. We may not feel it in the moment, but that pruning is important going forward. So I want to encourage you to think about what God might be pruning in your life. I want to encourage you to think about what may I need to get rid of and allow God to prune in my life to bear more fruit for God. I hope that this text blesses you. There's a lot more here that we could dig into, so I encourage you to read John 15. I hope you have a blessed week. I miss you. Lacey and I miss you. We love you. And we hope that you are doing well. Have a great week.